What's up, everybody? Welcome to some mono white hate goats. Oh, yes, yes, yes. I love playing goats in modern. It's always a lot of fun to get those goats on the battlefield. You can't help but feel like a nice little shepherd. But let's jump into the deck tech. So let's start off with the goat man himself. We have Springjack Shepherd. Whenever it enters the battlefield, create a 0/1 white goat creature token for each white mana symbol in the mana cost of permanents that you control. So it has chroma, but basically it's just kind of devotion to white. We're going to be able to put a 0/1 goat token onto the battlefield. Now, once we get those goats on the battlefield, it's just going to be a 0/1. So ways to pump up those goats, we have a couple different ways. We have Wilt Leaf Liege. Green creatures you control get +1. White creatures you control get +1/+1. And then if a spell or ability would make you discard it, we get to put it on the battlefield instead of the graveyard. So this is definitely good in the Liliana matches, even though you don't really see Jund or Abzan as much anymore. But if you do run into Liliana the Veil, it's a good way to get this creature onto the battlefield. And if we're looking for devotion for Springjack Shepherd, which it cares about devotion, this is going to be 3 white mana symbols, which is great for the deck. It's basically kind of like a Goat Lord, and then it adds devotion to the goats. Outside of that, we have Honor of the Pure. White creatures you control get +1/+1, and it's going to have that nice little white mana symbol in the converted mana cost. Outside of that, that's pretty much the only way we're going to have to kind of pump the goats up. But usually just getting down Honor of the Pure or Wilt Leaf Liege is more than enough to close it out, because we're going for Springjack Shepherd most of the time. We're going to end up probably around you're shooting for around 5+ goats, and so you get down a couple Honor of the Pures, maybe a couple Wilt Leaf Lieges, and you got yourself some nice little pumped up goats. Now, we do have an enter the battlefield aspect to the deck. We do have Flicker Wisp, enters the battlefield, exile another target permanent, then return it to its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. We can use that in sequence with Aether Vial to grab some of our opponent's creatures, but it's going to be a perfect way for us to bounce Springjack Shepherd and get those white tokens on the battlefield. Now, we're also running Restoration Angel in here. It does have flash, and we can exile Goat on the back end of our opponent's turn. And we also have a couple Blade Splicers in here. If we can't find the goats, we can simply start bouncing the Blade Splicer to get those 3/3 colorless Golem artifact creature tokens onto the battlefield. We're also running some value creatures in here like Bramaz. It's going to count towards devotion with the double white mana symbols and the converted mana cost. And then getting those tokens on the battlefield, once we kind of pump it up with an Honor of the Pure or Wilt Leaf Liege, those little cat tokens kind of add up. You can turn those into 3/3s pretty quick. Now, outside of the value and the devotion enter the battlefield triggers, we are running a very light hate package in here. We have 3 copies of Leon Arbiter. Players can't search your libraries unless they pay 2. We're also running 2 Aven Mind Sensors in here. That way, if our opponent cracks a fetch in response, we can flash that in and kind of delay them on a land. The main reason for that is that, if we can just catch one of our opponent's land, we can get the Arbiter down, or we can use one of our Ghost Quarters to blow up their lands. If we can just set them back a couple land drops, and that really kind of helps us make sure we can get to the spots where we can get down to Springjack Shepherd and really take advantage of that nice little white devotion that we have built. Outside of that, that's pretty much the deck in a nutshell. We are running 4 copies of Aether Vial. It's a great way for us to kind of deploy our stuff out as Aether Vial ticks up to 4. We can finally drop in Springjack Shepherd. But other than that, we just have some nice little value creatures in here. Sarah Avenger is great in the deck. It's a great Aether Vial target, or we can simply get it down for a 3/3 Vigilance. Now, onto the sideboard, we're running 2 copies of Mana Tithe because no one ever plays around Mana Tithe, then you can catch them one time and then they're going to be scared for the rest of the game. We're running 2 Disenchants for our artifact matchups, 2 Rest in Pieces, just kind of stop the graveyard, Stony Silence for the artifact matchups, and then Thalia for the storm-based matchups, or anything that we're kind of, Thalia, that adding 1 more to non-creature spells really does make a difference. You can really kind of set some decks back by having Thalia on the battlefield. Now, in your green-black matchups, your Abrupt Decay, we have Mirran Crusader or your Death Shadow, Double Strike Protection from black and green. We also have Prison Term, which is a really unique card for the deck. So we can enchant a creature, and then whenever a creature enters the battlefield under opponent's control, we may shift this around onto that new creature. So we can get it on one of our opponent's early creatures, they get something out like a bigger threat. We can shift this over to that bigger threat and have it on there. And it's going to count towards devotion because all it cares about is cards that we own, so that will definitely count towards the Springjack Shepherd. Then we're running 1 copy of White Sun Zenith, just a good way to get some nice little cat tokens onto the battlefield. But yes, that is the deck in a nutshell. We're looking to get as much white devotion on the battlefield as we can, go for a nice little Springjack Shepherd, get those goats, and then start going Goat B6, which is one of the best things you can do in Magic. I do have 3 gameplay videos for you posted up, so if you want to check them out, head over to the playlist. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.